Okay, so last episode we reviewed everything that was wrong with the Ford F350. Today, we're going to look at everything we've got here to fix it.
We've always been accused of hating the Ford Barra engine, which is just ridiculous. Now we've been selling a ton of these stickers, new in our shop, so get on them. We've also got an updated Barra t-shirt, so this is a dark navy, a bit more subtle this time. So get onto these too. Show your love for the Aussie Ford Barra.
Alright, so we've got a whole heap of parts in. We're going to make this truck actually roadworthy, but not only that, we're going to add some guts to it as well, because the naturally aspirated 351 in it, just a little bit anemic at the moment. Compression test's fine, but done a few practice pulls with a bit of load up a hill and it just struggled a bit. So this is what we've got to do at the moment. So this is everything we sort of run over in that last episode on what the pressure points were that we're actually going to work on. And here's what we're going to work with. So over here's the differential. So you heard I said it had a 4:5:6 ratio rear end in it. Unfortunately for the Dana 70, it meant I had to get a whole new hemisphere just to fit this lower ratio 3. I think it's 3/5/4s. So I had to get the ring and pinion, a new hemisphere. It is only an open hemisphere. I wasn't going to spend another $800 or whatever on LSD, whatever. This will be fine. And then the whole bearing kit for it as well. So everything you see here too, we will be filming on how to install, on how to put it all together and how to remove. So keep watching if this is the kind of content you want to see. Next part is some of the brake stuff. So these are really cheap and affordable. So if you've never seen before a drum brake before, you've only ever seen a disc brake. So this is a disc brake where you've got your normal caliper over it and discs clamp on to stop it. Drum brakes actually have what are called shoes, which I have brand new ones as well. And this giant thing, which is called a drum. So the shoes actually sit inside the drum and they get pushed out to cause friction to brake in this case, the truck and the rear end. So the drum brakes have a heap of springs and actually looks quite complicated, but it's pretty simple in how it works. But we've got brand new ones of these. We also have brand new wheel brake drum wheel cylinders, so we'll replace those as well. I've also got new studs and nuts and things in that, so heaps to go there on the rolling stock. In terms of front end suspension, you can see we've got some new arms and bushings and bearings and that, because I haven't looked at them really closely, but I assume they are all gone and finished. So this is some of the old the bushings and bearings and that and whatnot, and steering arms and that we will need. Over here we have a transmission mount, because I assume the one that's on the car is gone and finished. I mean, this is pretty cheap, this kind of stuff, so why not, while I'm there, do it. The indicators won't cancel themselves out, so this is pretty cheap too, so just bought that, which means now when I turn the steering wheel with the indicators on, it'll cancel itself. This is our speedo drive, so depending on what we do, if we retain the speedo, need a new speedo drive. This is a whole rubber kit for the windows, including the channel. You can see there's that felty sort of material everyone's accustomed to seeing in earlier model cars. So hopefully that stops a bit of the wind noise and any of the dirt and dust from flying in, which it does at the moment. One of the big things, I've driven it a few times now, and the front end is rowdy, to say the least. I was given the heads up that this needed to be done, but these are Kingpins. So essentially what this is a big knuckle top and bottom, and then a sleeve on where the front wheel and everything assembly attaches to, and this pin goes all the way through and then it locates in place. So at the moment all the bearings and bushings in this are ruined. So I've got these are new bearings here, which need to be machined in place, and I've been told that these are a total pain in the rear to fit. So some fun ahead for us. That's some of all the stuff just to get it roadworthy, but the real exciting stuff, the real jewel in the crown, is hiding behind here. So like I said, it was a pretty anemic 5.8 litre V8, but it's got the cubes on its side, but it's just missing something that this channel is pretty well known for, and that is boost. So while there's 101,000 comments out there saying we should just do an engine conversion and put a Barra in it. We're not in the really short time. I can near on guarantee that we will put a Barra in this. May not be this year, maybe early next year or over Christmas when I've got a bit more time to spend on this, but we want to go racing at Jamboree and Swan Hill. It's only 5 months away. That might sound like not a lot of time, because it is not a lot of time. So I've got to finish Project Redline first, then I've got to finish the F truck, get it on the road and get it registered. But in order to haul a car in that distance, we've got to do all this, but I need some extra guts to actually move the thing. So what we've got here is Fueltech FT550. So this has got all the capabilities to control either our turbocharged 351 Cleveland engine, or when we want to put the Barra in it, this Fueltech will control the Barra no problems as well. So I believe there might be a bit of a later video coming up that has Fueltech controlling a Barra, so that's something to look forward to as well. We've got a Turbo Smart wastegate and fuel pressure reg for EFI, and this old boy here is just a turbo I actually had lying around. So this is a Borg Warner S366, a 66mm front wheel. It's got a 0.91 divided rear housing. Because we're not going for absolute peak balls out horsepower on this thing and all we want is a whole heap of low end torque, I think this turbo will actually be really well suited to the engine. A lot of people go for the biggest turbo they can get known to man and fit it to cars, but all we really want here is snappy response and a big increase in low end torque. So this should do it. Also got, because we're going to make a turbo, we're going to probably use the turbo manifold. It's going to be a lot extra heat. Our DCI spark plug boots. So turbo LS guys will know all too well about burning up spark plug boots. So these sleeves go over those spark plugs to protect them. And that's pretty much it. So over the next few months, we're going to be filming a heap of content to get this thing on the road. Start off with probably some of the paint and panel stuff and getting that tidy. Then we'll probably get the rear bed done, sort out the suspension, and then we'll move on to the real fun stuff up here. So stay tuned, stick around, and yeah, if you like the content you're seeing, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, it really helps us, and don't forget to ring the bell to make sure that you're up to date with all the updates. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you later. Catch you then.
So you thought that was it, but wait, there's more. Like any good project car, it's an evolving beast, and there's more and more parts that we've find out that we need along the way. A couple of those was obviously a little bit more for the EFI conversion. So what we've got here is an 8 injector base port that will go between our 4150 style neck and 4-bolt 100mm throttle body. Now, probably seen this part. This was actually our Project Redline. If you don't know about Project Redline, it's our 626 rotary drag racing project that's sitting behind me here, which this rig will be towing. So we're repurposing that because we're going to a new setup on that car. That simply sits on this. This then bolts to our Cleveland manifold and bang, instant EFI conversion. So that's great. One of the other parts we need will be this distributor. So this is a magnetic pickup distributor. Now we need that because the new ECU, the Fueltech FT550, needs a signal for RPM. So we're not running, we don't want to spend big dollars in this Cleveland because, as we said, we're probably going to put a Barra in it later. So we're going to run what is just called sort of batch fire or multi-point fuel injection, where all the injectors will basically fire at the same time. But in order to fire the coil at the right time, we need to give it an RPM signal. So this magnetic pickup distributor does exactly that. So that's just a budget spec one, so that's perfect. Cleveland's and Boost love to throw this right here. Head gaskets, boom, 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 straight out. So ARP head bolts. Not going head studs because, again, this is going to be a budget engine, but if we're going to put new head bolts in it because we've got the heads off it, we might as well put something in there. So the other thing I did notice when driving it back from, it was unloaded, and I've driven a little bit around town here, is that the cooling system does seem to be a little underwhelming. The standard steel blade fan on that thing looks like it could take someone's finger off at any point in time. So got in touch with Davis Craig, and when we had Project Redline, first time we took it out the track, we had a Chinese spec thermo fan. It was terrible. Car was running at like 100 degrees at a drag racing strip, so it was awful. So we switched to a Davis Craig thermo fan on this thing, and instantly fixed the problems we had overnight. So we're switching to Davies Craig fan here for it, as well as an electric water pump. Now, you might have seen on Project Redline how we will be running the Davies Craig electric water pump controller on that car, because I want to do something pretty tricky with that. That's coming up soon that you'll find out on our Project Redline series. But the fuel tech will actually control this via pulse width modulation. So this pump won't run full time. The fuel tech will actually pulse this pump a certain percentage based on water temperature. And then once it reaches the key water temperature, it'll be running at full time. So won't have to run all the time, which is great. Also got some Falpro gaskets and the 2V Cleveland Valley Pan and intake gasket set up there, because this one had silicon as the intake gasket, the whole lot, didn't have a Valley Pan at all. So, you know, if we're going to do it right. They're only about 25 bucks from your local speed shop, so easy. Okay, so EFI, clamping on the head, gaskets, cooling system. The last thing that we really haven't investigated yet is ride quality. So I was looking around, you know, they remove the helper springs out of this thing at some point to try and make it ride a little easier when it's not loaded. What I was noticing still was that the ride was really harsh, and I did actually load this as a test and noticed that it was really, really uneven, that the bed actually moved significantly left and right depending on where the load was, which really worried me. So I was thinking about hunting down some extra helper springs or what I should do. Actually saw a video online on YouTube somewhere about this great Australian company, Airbag Man, and they were installing helper springs in the back of, I think it was a Hilux ute or a tradies work ute or whatever, and you could see that this work ute was really loaded up, and the attitude on the car was really back to the back like a water jet boat sort of thing, like on a river, sort of just tailing out, and you could see that the thing wouldn't brake properly, and it was really unsafe. These guys installed this, and instantly all you had to do was just manually pump up the airbags with some air pressure, and it leveled out that load. So I thought that's definitely something we should investigate. Contacted the guys, and they hooked us up with these. And so this system is really incredible. It's basically a bolt-in system. So I think it is something like this bolts to the chassis, and this will bolt to the leaf springs, and the airbag will sit in between. And essentially what it means is when I'm going racing, all I have to do is load up the car, then manually just feed in some air pressure with an air compressor to make sure that the load is correctly leveled out from side to side, and that'll also act as an extra cushioning spring, so it means the load will be perfect, the ride will be much better and much smoother. So cannot wait to install these, because this was really a missing link. So if you guys are tradies out there and you're carrying a lot of heavy load and towing trailers and stuff like that with your work vans, look these guys up, because I think they make them for most of things like, you know, Land Cruisers. So if you're towing a caravan, your Land Cruisers, Pajeros, Hiluxes, all that kind of stuff. This is the stuff that you guys have to get on, because they make full airbag suspension as well, but these are just helper bags for the rear. Super pumped to put these in, because these are a brilliant idea. So that about sums it up. That's, yeah, we don't have much more to look up for this. I think the only thing is clutch. We need to sort out a clutch, and probably some kind of coating for this bed. So someone gave us a really good suggestion in the last video. Said instead of putting checker plate down or cutting the bed out and that, why don't you just coat the bed? So I'm not sure who does that kind of service in Australia, or what it's called or whatever, but I was thinking either some kind of spray-on rubberized or a non-slip sort of surface that I could paint on or brush onto this, or even some kind of large volume industrial adhesive backing. So you might have seen like people go in steps, how they've got that sort of non-slip surface. If maybe I could glue some of that onto the bed or something. I don't know. That seems like a better option than having to cut out all the bed and put down new sheet or whatever, because like I said, we want to get this thing on the road and we want to get back to racing ASAP. So anything that saves time and is easier, we're open to. So really looking forward to stuff. Someone could give us a suggestion and lean us in the way of a company, because I'm way out of my depth with that stuff. I have no idea. But yeah, got to get this stuff in the car now. Got to get it going. So until next time, I'll leave it to you, and I'll catch you later in the comments. See you later.
And like always, support the people who support us.